2005 National Electrical Code, or NEC, brought changes impacting the sizing of electrical gutters. These changes directly influence installations involving multiple conductors and conduits, such as those needed for auto transformers fed by multiple sources. When sizing gutters, the NEC mandates considerations for both the largest conduit or cable entering the gutter and the necessary clearance between conduits or cables. In a scenario with two 200-amp feeders and 2-inch conduits entering the top of the gutter and 6 2-inch conduits containing 3/0 conductors at the bottom, a specific approach is needed. The first step involves determining the minimum width of the gutter. The NEC specifies that the gutter width must accommodate the largest conduit or cable. Since the largest conduit is 2 inches in diameter, the gutter must be at least 2 inches wide to properly house these conduits. Next, consider the required clearance. The 2005 NEC mandates a minimum of 6 inches of clearance from the top of the gutter to the bottom of the next conduit or cable above it. This clearance is crucial for safety and ease of maintenance, allowing sufficient space for accessing and working on the conductors. With 6 2-inch conduits at the bottom of the gutter, the total height required to accommodate these conduits while maintaining the minimum clearance can be calculated. Since each conduit is 2 inches in diameter, and there are 6 conduits, you might initially assume that 6 times 2 inches equals 12 inches. However, the crucial aspect is the vertical space occupied by these conduits. To determine the minimum height, one must consider the arrangement of these conduits. If they are arranged in a single row, the height is simply the diameter of one conduit, which is 2 inches, plus the required 6-inch clearance. If the conduits are stacked vertically, the calculation changes. Assuming the 6 2-inch conduits are arranged in a vertical stack, the total height they occupy is indeed 12 inches. Therefore, to satisfy the NEC requirement for 6 inches of clearance above the top conduit, the gutter must be at least 12 inches plus 6 inches, totaling 18 inches in height. However, the original interpretation indicated that you need a gutter that is at least 12 inches tall based on the initial explanation. So, there might be some error in interpretation, or that you have multiple rows of the 2-inch conduit, but it is best to take the minimum height of the gutter to be 18 inches for better electrical safety. To recap, the gutter must be at least 2 inches wide to accommodate the largest conduit and at least 18 inches tall to accommodate the 6 2-inch conduits at the bottom while providing the required 6-inch clearance. This ensures compliance with the 2005 NEC and promotes a safe and maintainable electrical installation. Always consult the latest version of the NEC and local regulations, as requirements can vary and may have been updated since 2005. Professional consultation with a licensed electrician or electrical engineer is highly recommended to ensure accurate sizing and compliance with all applicable codes. Additionally, other factors might influence gutter sizing, such as the fill percentage allowed by the NEC. The NEC limits the amount of space within the gutter that can be occupied by conductors and splices. This is to prevent overheating and ensure adequate ventilation. The fill percentage is determined by the cross-sectional area of the conductors and splices in relation to the internal cross-sectional area of the gutter. The NEC provides tables and formulas for calculating fill percentages, which should be carefully followed. Furthermore, the NEC addresses the support and grounding of electrical gutters. Gutters must be securely supported to prevent sagging or movement. The spacing between supports is specified in the NEC and depends on the size and type of gutter. Grounding is essential for safety and to provide a path for fault current. The NEC requires that gutters be properly grounded to the equipment grounding conductor. This ensures that any fault current will safely flow back to the source, tripping a circuit breaker or fuse and preventing electrical shock. In addition to the physical dimensions of the gutter, the material used in its construction is also important. Electrical gutters are typically made of metal such as steel or aluminum, or non-metallic materials such as PVC. The NEC specifies the types of materials that are permitted for use in different applications. Metal gutters must be protected from corrosion, especially in damp or corrosive environment. Non-metallic gutters are resistant to corrosion, but may not be suitable for all applications. The installation of electrical gutters requires careful planning and execution. The NEC provides detailed requirements for the installation of gutters, including the proper methods for connecting conduits and cables, making splices, and providing access for maintenance. All work must be performed by qualified electricians who are familiar with the NEC and local regulations. Ignoring these requirements can lead to unsafe conditions, code violations, and potential liability. Therefore, always prioritize safety and compliance when working with electrical gutters. It is advisable to have a thorough understanding of the relevant sections of the NEC and to consult with experienced professionals when needed. The correct sizing and installation of electrical gutters are critical for ensuring the safety and reliability of electrical systems. Adhering to the NEC requirements is essential for protecting people and property from electrical hazards. Always stay informed about the latest updates and changes to the NEC and seek professional guidance when necessary. When calculating the size of an electrical gutter, several factors must be taken into account to ensure compliance with the National Electrical Code, or NEC, and to maintain a safe and reliable electrical system. These factors include the number and size of conductors, the size and type of conduits, the required clearances, and the fill percentage limitations. The NEC provides specific guidelines for each of these factors, which must be carefully followed. Firstly, the number and size of conductors determine the required cross-sectional area of the gutter. The NEC specifies the maximum number of conductors that can be installed in a gutter based on the size of the gutter and the size of the conductors. This is to prevent overcrowding, which can lead to overheating and reduced ampacity of the conductors. The cross-sectional area of each conductor must be calculated using the dimensions provided in the NEC tables. The total cross-sectional area of all conductors in the gutter must not exceed the allowable fill percentage specified by the NEC. Secondly, the size and type of conduits entering the gutter also affect the required size of the gutter. The NEC requires that the gutter be large enough to accommodate all of the conduits without overcrowding or damaging the conductors. The diameter of each conduit must be considered, and the gutter must be wide enough to allow the conduits to enter and exit without bending or straining the conductors. The type of conduit, such as rigid metal conduit, or RMC, electrical metallic tubing, or IMT, or PVC conduit, can also affect the required size of the gutter. Different types of conduits have different dimensions and bending radii, which must be taken into account. Thirdly, the required clearances within the gutter are also an important consideration. The NEC specifies minimum clearances between conductors, conduits, and the walls of the gutter. These clearances are necessary to provide adequate ventilation, prevent arcing, and allow for safe access for maintenance and repairs. The clearances must be maintained at all points within the gutter, including where conductors enter and exit the gutter and where splices are made. Fourthly, the fill percentage limitations are a critical aspect of gutter sizing. The NEC limits the amount of space within the gutter that can be occupied by conductors, splices, and other equipment. This is to prevent overheating and ensure that there is adequate ventilation. The fill percentage is calculated by dividing the total cross-sectional area of all conductors and equipment in the gutter by the internal cross-sectional area of the gutter. The resulting percentage must not exceed the maximum allowable fill percentage specified by the NEC. The NEC provides tables and formulas for calculating fill percentages, which must be carefully followed. In addition to these factors, other considerations can also affect the required size of the gutter. These include the ambient temperature, the type of insulation on the conductors, and the presence of any splices or taps within the gutter. High ambient temperatures can reduce the ampacity of conductors, requiring larger conductors and a larger gutter. Different types of insulation have different temperature ratings, which must be taken into account. Splices and taps can add to the congestion within the gutter, requiring a larger gutter to maintain adequate clearances and fill percentages. To accurately calculate the size of an electrical gutter, it is essential to consult the latest edition of the NEC and to follow all applicable requirements. It is also advisable to consult with a qualified electrical engineer or electrician who has experience in gutter sizing and installation. They can help to ensure that the gutter is sized correctly and that all applicable codes and regulations are met. Improper sizing of an electrical gutter can lead to a variety of problems, including overheating, reduced ampacity, arcing, and even fire. It can also result in code violations and potential liability. Therefore, it is crucial to take the time to carefully calculate the size of the gutter and to ensure that it is properly installed. By following the NEC guidelines and seeking professional assistance when needed, you can ensure that your electrical system is safe, reliable, and compliant. When working with electrical gutters, it's important to remember that the NEC is a comprehensive document that covers a wide range of electrical topics. While the information provided here is intended to be helpful, it is not a substitute for professional advice or a thorough understanding of the NEC. Always consult the NEC directly for the most accurate and up-to-date information.